Welcome to From the VC's Bookshelf, a podcast from TBR, the College System of Tennessee, the state's largest higher education system. In this series, we examine how we might re-envision the work we do and how we work together as we move into a post-pandemic world. Please join our host, Dr. Heidi Lemming, Vice Chancellor for Student Success, as she leads a live discussion with industry experts and leaders throughout our system.
The Statewide Outstanding Achievement Awards and Recognition, or SOAR celebration, recognizes individuals who have been nominated by their institutions as being among the best of the best in the categories of faculty, staff, and students. This year's finalists went through an initial interview process where they were selected as a regional winner that then moved on to our final statewide competition. In this podcast series, I'll be showcasing the regional award winners in a short interview so that listeners can learn more about the faculty, staff, and student finalists from across the TBR system. It's my hope that by learning more about the regional finalists, listeners will get a sense of the amazing stories and backgrounds of the individuals who work and learn at our institutions. In this podcast, I'm interviewing our faculty finalists for our technical colleges. I'm joined today by two of our three finalists. Unfortunately, our third finalist was unable to make the podcast, but we're going to lean into the two women before me today. I'm going to let them really introduce themselves. I'm not going to do that because, again, I think our listeners are always interested in hearing not only, what you're teaching in your institution, but just a little bit more about your maybe background or something that's interesting about you that you'd like to share with our listeners. So no particular order to go if somebody wants to volunteer. Otherwise,
I'll go.
Okay, Kim.
I'm Lexy.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I just flipped that.
It's all right. I moved.
Yeah.
My name is Lexy Baker, and I am the dental assisting instructor at TCAT Nashville. I've been a registered dental assistant for about 16 years now, and I still do practice on Fridays in Nashville with Dr. Hecklin, Smiley, and DeLuzio. So,
great.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'm Kim Brewer. I'm the cosmetology instructor at TCAT Morristown.
Okay.
The satellite campus, Hawkins County, is where I'm located at. I have been a cosmetologist since 1985. I have owned my own business. I've been teaching with TCAT the last 6 years, 5.5 to 6 years, but I've had my license to teach, instructor's license, since 2006, and have been actively teaching since I've had those licenses. I'm married, got 2 children and 5 grandchildren.
Great. Well, that's an accomplishment too. Well, again, I'm really excited to sit and talk with both of you today. First of all, congratulations on making it to this point in the process. We have a lot of folks put forward for consideration from across our institutions, and we have quite a few institutions. So the fact that you've made it to the top 3 is really an amazing achievement. So regardless of the outcome tonight, thank you for being here, but also just, again, congratulations for being here.
Thank you.
All right. So you did just finish your finalist interviews yesterday, and you've, again, not been officially told who is going to be the recipient of this award. So let's take a minute and just have you talk a little bit more about the work that you do at TCATs. Why do you like working at a TCAT? Let's talk about that. Describe, what you do on campus a little bit more thoroughly, and then, what is a TCAT? So some folks might not know even that we have what we call technical colleges here in the state. So might have you describe that a little bit as well. We can start with Kim this time.
Okay. TCAT Technical College. It is going to be able to give students the opportunity that maybe not could afford to go to school, and we offer that to them so that they had the opportunity to get out into the industry and become what they set their mind to. Private schools are hard. I taught in a private school. I've seen a lot of students in the private schools that couldn't afford to go to school, and they suffered for that. But TCAT offers that opportunity for them to get their degree. Once we work with them, and as my students, it's my passion, because this is my passion. I love cosmetology. I love what I do. It's my job to see that my students can get out in the industry and prevail. I want to see them have a job. I want to place them. I want to be able to take them out and introduce them to the business opportunities and meet the people out in the workforce. I'm able to place them that way. And I love what I do for these students. If it hadn't been for TCAT, a lot of these students wouldn't be able to have a degree and might be stuck in something that they don't want to do the rest of their lives. This is a career, and it's rewarding.
Yeah, I feel the same way about the fact that they can graduate debt-free when they come to a TCAT usually, and I think that is humongous because a lot of students do graduate with a lot of debt, and they're spending the first few years of their working life trying to pay off this debt. I'm a huge proponent for technical education. Obviously, I love anything in the industries is super important to me. So I'm even trying to push my son to go into a trade, even though he wanted to do something else. But I'm like, just try, just think about it, because we need these. These industries are not going anywhere. You know, that's plain and simple. And to have a college that is getting students out there quickly and with quality education, debt-free, is what a TCAT's all about. So
Yeah.
I have a huge presence on campus as well. Mm-hmm. I started a food pantry. I noticed that students can't learn when they're hungry, and I noticed that in my own classroom. Mm-hmm. And so I decided when students from other programs came to my classroom to ask for food, that I was going to ask my president if I could take it campus-wide. So I started that with his support, and so lots of students know me just from all of that.
Yeah.
I also do our social media, so it's been exciting learning how to kind of do the marketing side of education. So
Yeah. And that's another way that you're encouraging people to check you guys out.
Yes.
This younger generation.
I mean, we have to push ourselves out there to this audience, because that's who we want to come to these TCATs.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing.
It really does. It helps because I'm like you, we do have a social media for our cosmetology program, and it's amazing how the clients, we can post their work, and we're able to draw clients in from the students' work, and just knowing that they're getting that hands-on experience without having to worry, am I going to be able to do this when I get out here? Mm-hmm. They're going to know that they can do it, mm-hmm. and that makes a difference. Mm-hmm. We're giving them that. We're giving back to them, and I feel like that's just a trade in itself. I mean, we're working for it.
So you've already started to kind of go in a direction I'd like to dig in a little bit on, is the community piece there, and how you're not only trying to meet the needs of employers by, the programs that you're offering in your location, but also, the partnerships that might be possible. So can you speak a little bit more to, like, if you were to go out in the community and maybe there's a partner you're not already engaged with, how you would share with them, what you're doing in your program and how they could engage with your institution?
I feel like a lot of the salon industry, cosmetology is a little harder about things like that, because there's not a whole lot of scholarships that a lot of industries like to give. And so I try to partner up with them and say, hey, is there any way that my students can job shadow? Could you think about offering apprenticeship programs for these students so that they could get some hands-on experience, or just stay with you side by side and learn from what you do in your salon? Just things like that in general. I think that is very important for them. More scholarships, especially if we can get these industries and these salons out here to be motivated, like a lot of these industries are that do for like HVAC and welding and electricity. I would be excited to get those salons to say, hey, I'm going to give $1,000 to this student, because they don't realize how beneficial that can be for these kids.
Sure.
Yeah, I would definitely tell them to pour into the TCATs, because when they pour into our, institutions, they're going to get better quality students out. Joint advisory committees is a huge one for me. I'm always like, hey, as many advisory committee members as I can have, I would love them, because I'm going to share with you what I'm teaching, and you're going to tell me if it's good or if I need to change it. This is where I'm introduced to new technology. And I've had a lot of things donated to my program from my advisory members, which has been really, really amazing. So I would say also guest speakers. Students love being having guest speakers on campus. So a lot of the time I teach basic general dentistry. I don't get into those specialties, and there's so many in dentistry. So I tell them, hey, if you work at a pediatric office, come share with my students about this specialty, so maybe they can explore that option if they want to. But I definitely have had a lot of connections just from having guest speakers and having people on my advisory.
The networking.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that translate, because you mentioned that you've put up a food pantry on your campus,
Yeah.
Does that translate to how community partners might even help just general student population there through their basic needs? Have you seen that?
We have reached out to several, and I've had, dentists donate toothbrushes because I do have a hygiene side of the pantry, so deodorants and things like that. A lot of it has been raised by actually the student population has come together and we did a food drive. But the other things, the basic needs, hygiene items, those come from donations from not only industry people, but also other faculty and staff on campus.
So even if there's an industry that you don't maybe currently have a program to support, but they're just in your community, want to support the college and the community, there are ways that they can just generally support students.
Yes.
Because again, to your points that you made earlier, I mean, going to a technical college is the most affordable way to go to college. But that doesn't mean it still covers everything.
Right.
And a lot of our students are coming from backgrounds maybe where they still have to work in addition to going to school, or maybe they're supporting other family members, have their own families they're supporting. So to take time to go to college is taking away from those other ways that they might have been providing resources, so that helps them to stay enrolled. So we've talked a lot about like how you're serving students that you have right now. Let's think about the future student, the one that's maybe in 8th grade right now, maybe doesn't know what they want to do necessarily. But what kind of things would you do, I guess, in your job that you could kind of share with that 8th grade student is the value of going on to college just generally? What would you say to them?
Well, I would love them to know that, 4-year college isn't their only option. And I love sharing what I do. And so when we have students on campus, I believe we did have some middle schoolers on campus doing a cosmetology event last week, where they got to kind of play with some nail polish, and they were learning braiding. And I took pictures of it for social media, and I'm 99% sure they were in middle school because they were pretty little. But
yeah.
I was like, this is a great idea. And so I'm not sure who facilitated that, but I was blown away. We need to do it for all the programs. They don't have to necessarily get hands-on, but just to see the things that they could do at a TCAT was really, really great. I do go into the high schools' allied health programs, especially the ones around my school. I'll take a day and go have them mix that goopy impression material, and they're always just like, oh, okay. And I've gotten several people who have reached out to come to my class to shadow for the day and just watch us in the clinic to see if it might be something that they want to do. So, yeah.
I'm kind of with her. She's talking about the cosmetology. We actually will go out to the middle schools.
Okay.
That's cool.
And we talk to them about cosmetology. We have brochures to give them. We give them combs, brushes, just things like that in general. We have a slideshow. I have a slideshow that I present, and they actually get to see the students working. Also, when we're there talking to them about it, we find out, are you interested? Is this something you're interested? For me, I know that was something I wanted to do when I was in middle school. And so I was fortunate I took all mine in high school. But, of course, that was back in the 80s, too. It's been a long time. But these students, they seem to like that. They like seeing what we do instead of just coming by a table and seeing, hey, well, here's a mannequin or here's a hand. They're looking to see all the projects that we produce. We do nail projects. We do a fantasy makeup project. We do color projects. We do a project at the end with the seniors do. It's called a project salon, where it incorporates a lot of things. Again, it's basically a business plan. We don't just teach cosmetology. It's everything. It goes from hair, skin to nails. And these kids are seeing this, and they're like, you do this? Then they take a tour of our campus, and they come by and they look at everything, and they're like, wow. And I'm like, now, if this is something you want to do, you think about it. But you be serious about it, because it's hard. It's not an easy trade like people think it is. And I said, you be serious. And I said, one day you may be in my class, and I'm going to remember you. And I'll give you an example. Today, one of the high schools in my area, I post a lot of pictures of my students. Well, they see these high school students are seeing these things that my students are doing. The high school teacher there, Miss Helton, she sent me a picture and said, this little girl wants you to see what she has done. She is so proud of this because she has seen what your girls are doing in class, and she wants to show you what she has done. And that just happened today. So not only am I touching my students' life, or I hope that I'm touching their lives, I'm touching other students that's coming into me lives. And that says a lot for me. It says, it's rewarding as an instructor. And I enjoy that.
That's great, finding a greater purpose there with the work.
Yeah, and like I said, it just happened today. It just was so rewarding.
Oh, that's great. Well, and you both have shared, kind of the passion that you have for your field, and examples of how you've gone outside of your comfort zone to create things like a food pantry or outreach to high school students. Anything else that you want to share about how you're supporting students in your role? Because one of the things I'll tell you when we interview students, they're always mentioning the faculty member that made the greatest impact on them.
I love that.
So you might not see yourself in that way, but I guess can you maybe speak to other ways that you've supported students, not just academically?
It's tricky being faculty because you can't get yourself super wrapped up in their personal life, but you do find yourself completely engaged in their personal life. And so you can only stay on one side of it for so long, but you notice who needs nurturing more than others, and who, for example, I had a pregnant student in my class one time, and her parents were very upset about this, and she was like, I just feel like you're the first person I call when I leave the doctor to tell you an update about the baby, because I feel like you really genuinely care about this. And I was like, it melted my heart. I was like, okay. And so she's like, I'm gonna call you a lot. I'm like, I'm here. Once you graduate, I'm still here. You still have my number. It has not changed. Reach out. And so I love getting updates about the baby, and she's practicing dentistry, and I'm super proud of her. But it's the little things like that you don't realize. They don't always have the support at home of a parent or a spouse or whoever, they need support from. So we kind of take on a role that we don't even mean to take on, but yeah.
I take on that mama role.
Yeah.
I'm the mama at school.
Yeah, mama, for sure.
It's knowing that I'm there for them. Just, you just got to be there for them. If you're not there for them, they're not going to believe in you. And you got to be that mama role. And sometimes the mama role's not easy, because sometimes you have to, discipline as well as praise. But in the end, I think they see that we do mean well in the end, and that we did care about them. They don't always like us when we have to discipline. But the thing about it is, we're reprimanding them for the good, not the bad.
Right, trying to make them
meet
expectations ultimately.
We want them to succeed.
Sure.
We want them to succeed.
Yeah.
It's particularly hard when you have a student that can be great, and, outside influences change the student that they become. You saw them be so committed in the beginning, and it starts to taper off as they get tired or senioritis or whatever happens to them. And you have to have that hard conversation like, hey, I know you're better than this. But once you have that conversation and they pick back up, it's like, okay, I believed in you, and you showed me that you could do it. And then I did have a student one time who almost made me quit teaching. Honestly, it was like I was going out to have a surgery, and I said, I'm just not sure if I'm going to come back after when the new term starts. And I thought about it, and I prayed about it a lot. And that student actually came into my class this term and brought me a gift. And I was like, what is this for? Well, she had really wanted to be in public health. And she said that I make them make a PowerPoint on the first day of school. Their first task is to make a PowerPoint all about me. I want to know about you, your life, that kind of, what's your goal in dentistry? What do you see in 10 years, 20 years? And one of the things that she said was public health. Well, a job opportunity came open with the Department of Health in their dental clinic. It's very rare that comes open, and it's a very good job to secure with benefits and vacation and all of that. And so they had reached out to me and asked if I had anybody, and I was like so conflicted. it was the first time I ever felt like, I don't know if I'm going to stick my neck out for this student, but I know she wants it. So I did it. I prayed about it. And then 3 days later, I said, contact this person. I think she's the right fit for the job. And after that, I don't know if she got the job, whatever, until she brought me the gift. And she said, they told me that you recommended me. And in the card, it was like, I'm sorry. You were there for me, and I didn't realize it, and I'm sorry. So I'm getting emotional. It's fine.
That's okay.
But yeah, that to me was like a complete moment for me, because I almost stopped teaching, but I just knew there was some reason I was coming back. So yeah.
What I love about the stories here is it's a relationship with the student. And our TCAT faculty are known for having those deeper relationships, because you do have a small number of students that you're working with at a time. You get to know them really well in personal ways. They stick with you because you're there with them all day. So, I mean, it just kind of builds that rapport, and you all as faculty serve as mentors for these students clearly. So I appreciate you sharing those personal stories. Well, we're kind of getting close to the end of our time here today. Again, I just want to thank you for not only sharing, but congratulate you for making it to this point in the process. I hope you have a fun evening, and good luck to you in your roles as faculty members of the TCAT.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this edition of From the VC's Bookshelf, brought to you by TBR, the College System of Tennessee, powering the state's economy and changing the lives of thousands of graduates, starting successful careers each year. To learn more about upcoming book selections or to register to attend discussions live, visit tbr.edu/bookshelf.